Hi and welcome to The Winning Factor. I'm Alan Aitken, and on this show each week we take a look at some upcoming races in Hong Kong, and I try to identify an aspect of the race that we might look back on later as having been the path to finding the winner. Well, one of my favourite days on the Hong Kong calendar on Sunday, the Standard Chartered Champions and Chater Cup, the final Group 1 of the season. And while it's not one of the races that I'm going to be examining in detail today, and there'll be plenty of information all around the Hong Kong Jockey Club website, of course, I did want to offer this, that normally in Hong Kong racing we see favourites win at around about a 30% strike rate. In Group 1 races, like the Champions and Chater, we would normally expect that to go up. The conditions do favour the horses with the better past performances, so I would think normally around 34-35%. But when we look at this graphic over the last 24 runnings of the Champions and Chater, what sticks out? Only 6 winning favourites in that time. And have a look at some of the beaten favourites and their prices. Champion horses like Indigenous, Viva Pataka, Designs on Rome, some of the legends of Hong Kong racing, and they've been beaten at 1.4, 1.3, 1.2, and all kinds of other short prices. This is a graveyard for favourites of this race. And while we've had favourites win the last 2 years, and of course a very worthy favourite in Exultant on Sunday, it's certainly something to think about before you pin your ears back and take the short odds. But on to the races that I'm going to examine, and first of all we go to race 5, and our winning factor here, the map. And I think you can make a winning argument here for Cruising and Biz Power, both of them coming off one run after a very lengthy break, and they should be improved. The John Size trained Wind and Grass has been a little bit in and out, but his last start was a good pointer. And lightly raced Good Luck Friend for Ricky Yu and Joao Moreira. And first of all, let's take a look at Good Luck Friend. He looks certain to start the favourite here and has done little wrong in his 3 starts so far, winning 2 runs ago this course and distance. Before we see him here in race 604, he's a beaten favourite here in Class 4. But True Legend, the winner of that race, had the edge with a lighter handicap and the rail, so he had control of the pace. But Good Luck Friend all but got the job done, and now he plummets in the weights, rising in class. A half hour earlier, in race 603, we saw Biz Power. He was having his first run in over a year, and his first run for trainer Paul O'Sullivan, and this was pretty good, getting back in the field as he usually does, and chasing home well for 4th behind Relentless Me in Class 3. And as I said, the Wind and Grass, he's been a little bit in and out, but here we see him in race 647, his last start. And once again, the winner is Relentless Me. And here's Wind and Grass in the blue and yellow colours, running on strongly into 3rd placing. But for me, the key aspect of all those performances we've just seen is where they were in the run. And when we take a look at the map for Sunday's race, there doesn't look a great deal of speed in it. And I expect both Biz Power and Wind and Grass to be giving away a start to the other pair that I mentioned as chances, Cruising and Good Luck Friend, who look our likely leaders. And because they do stand out as the leaders, there looks no reason for any external pressure and no reason for these 2 front runners to put each other under pressure in the first half of the race. So the tip in race 5, Good Luck Friend. His winning factor, the map. He's fit, he's in form, and the way this looks like being run with no pressure on the front end, that's good for him, not so good for a couple of his main rivals. The second race I want to examine for Sunday is race 11, and our winning factor here, the distance. Now I think most attention in the betting here is going to centre around the chances of Glorious Spectrum, Happy Fun with Zach Purton getting back aboard, Circuit 3, who's been freshened up since his last start, and Will Power for Douglas White as he switches from the dirt to the turf for the first time. The wide draw looks a bit of an issue for Circuit 3, Happy Fun. Well, we pretty much know what we are getting with him these days, and so I want to focus on the two horses that are stepping up from 1200 metres to 1400 metres, and that's Glorious Spectrum and Willpower. Now, first of all, we're going to look at Glorious Spectrum's latest run. This is race 610, and this was an eye catcher coming from last over 1200. I want you to take a look at the heat map here. Of course, he goes back early in the race to last, but there was a bit of pace on in the early stages. The race shape was quite good for a finisher because the leaders used up some early energy. They steadied mid-race, so they came back to him without him really doing anything. And he turns for home just over 4 lengths off the lead and does a great job finishing off strongly into second placing. Now in race 591, the latest for Willpower, the step up in distance here also looks important coming off this run at 1200 metres. Now, to the eye, he's had every chance, running third on the dirt to win a Supreme here. And the key point, and a real contrast with Glorious Spectrum's last start race shape, is that very fast middle section. Winner Supreme rips through his middle 400 metres very fast. Willpower gets outpaced at that point, and although he's in the first 5, he actually straightens up further from the lead than Glorious Spectrum was in his race. The leader didn't come back to him at any point and went on to break the course record, so it was difficult for him to make up that ground. So the two horses we're looking at spent their energy at different points of the race last time. With Glorious Spectrum, he spent most of his chips at the finish of the race, but for Willpower, he was really bottomed out in the middle of the race, just trying to maintain a position somewhere within striking range. So that weakened his finish, and I don't think that we're going to see that kind of a race on Sunday, as both of them step up to 1400 metres. We take a look at the map, and Happy Fun, he's a regular leader. I'd expect him to take up the front. But we have a couple of John Moore's runners drawn wide here with pace, especially Good Standing and Sunny Boy, and they could influence the pace here if they press forward and elect to put some pressure on Happy Fun. Beauty Rush, he's another who could share the lead or take a sit just behind them, which might be his preferred tactic. I think we'll see Glorious Spectrum closer from this better draw, but still in midfield. However, I think Willpower, with a little bit less pressure over the 1400 metres early, I think he's going to hold a fairly prominent position here, and I don't think he'll have to use an awful lot of petrol just to keep it. So the tip in race 11, Willpower. His winning factor, the distance. I think from the good draw this time, he's going to be able to hold a better position in running and show us that turn of foot that he's got at the finish when he doesn't have to use his energy mid-race. Well, that's it from the winning factor this week. Enjoy the final Group 1 of the season on Sunday. We'll see you next time.